Sirocco winds blow out of the desert, testing the competitors' navigation skills and taxing their machinery. Mitsubishi Motors, 10 Dakar wins, 5 in a row. The 2006 Dakar Rally. See it unfold on your channel of champions.
Less traveled. A true adventurer makes a road where none exists. The Dakar Rally, only on Supersport. Proudly sponsored by Total Quartz Lubricants.
Today, Monday the 9th of January 2006, the Dakar suffered a very sad loss. At 11:57 a.m. Andy Calcott died instantly after crashing during stage 9 from Nouakchott to Kiffa. The Australian was 41 years of age. At 11:57, explains Etienne Lavigne, race director, we were informed of the death of Andy Calcott, who fell 250 kilometers into today's stage and died instantly.
Nous avons été prévenus de l'accident à
We've been informed of the accident at 11:31 and our helicopter landed on the scene of the crash. We were informed of his death at 11:57. A very sad moment for the Kiffa, on the Kiffa bivouac. The Dakar family had lost one of its members, a terrible moment for KTM Repsol boss Jordi Acaron, who had asked Calcott to join his team just before the start of the rally. Well, Andy didn't have a team this year for Dakar, and we asked him to join the KTM team to replace Jordi Durand. If he had known before leaving home what was to happen, well,
no tenía equipo. Y mira, las cosas, la verdad es que si se supiera antes de salir de casa, pues podrías dedicar esto, ¿no? Es el destino, no puedes cambiar.
It's a very difficult moment for us and the whole team.
Muy duro para nosotros, para todo el equipo.
Andy Calcott had started his first Dakar back in 2004. He failed to finish that one after breaking an ankle, but he came back the following year, winning 2 specials and finishing 6th overall in Dakar. This year, he had won the first African special and was 10th overall. All our thoughts are for his family and friends. After a rest day, time for the longest stage of the rally, a total of 874 kilometers, including the longest special, close to 600 k's. Heading from Nouakchott to Kiffa, the competitors will hope to make it before sunset, but that should unfortunately only concern the best long stretches of dunes, one after the other, possibly the toughest mountain of the rally. For the second time of this 28th edition, the bikers were to start in the reverse order of the previous special. Again, after stage 7 heading to Attar, the privateers opened the course before seeing the big guns pass by. And navigation was to be a key factor today. Problems started as soon as kilometer 80 for overall leader Mark Coma. The Spaniard struggled finding the right way and the good GPS waypoints. And already the first tunes of this 9th stage. Navigation problems for Mark Coma. but he carried on speeding all the way to the first checkpoint at kilometer 125. Problems for the Spaniard, but also for a lot of other riders, including Jean de Azevedo, David Frétinier, and all the Top Guns stopped and looking for the right way to go. This was the story of stage 9, navigation. A nightmare in the dunes for David Frétinier. The Yamaha biker again suffered with navigation. His time loss was counted in hours. Not a good Dakar so far for the Frenchman, who doesn't seem to be able to compete with the bigger KTMs. Despair for the Frenchman, here alongside Brazilian Jean de Azevedo. Dune after dune after dune, soft sand. And with the new navigation rules, it's a nightmare to find the right path. De Azevedo, the Brazilian, eventually finished 8th, losing 33 minutes on the day. And the smartest was again Frenchman Cyril Deprez. Like on the previous stage, the title holder made the best of his experience and navigational skills. Injured 4 days ago after a bad fall, the Frenchman seemed in top shape today, not complaining too much about his shoulder or his wrist tendinitis. Meanwhile, Paul-Anders Olavalzeta enjoys a long moment alone in the front of the race. He made it first, but not the fastest at CP1, kilometer 128. Norwegian also reached CP2 and refueling at kilometer 235 in the lead.
Manœuvre. Ça se passe pas trop mal pour l'instant. Pour l'instant, ouais, je suis pas encore
well,
en
so far,
forme.
everything's going well for me, explains Cyril Deprez.
Une très très bonne nouvelle.
I'm in good shape physically, that's good
Et à
news.
l'épaule et au poignet. C'est pas encore génial, j'ai pas encore
I still have a pain
bon, j'essaie d'assumer.
in the shoulder and the wrist,
J'essaie de
but
pas rester dans les traces parce que
I'm okay today.
y a pas mal de trucs un peu faux. Donc
I just try to
bon,
follow the right
plutôt,
track.
plutôt pas mal, c'est 200 premiers
But I'm
kilomètres qui m'ont
rather
chauffé
happy
et qui
so
m'ont mis en
far
confiance.
after 200 kilometers. The rally was then hit by tragedy. Andy Calcott suffered a crash at kilometer 250 and was instantly killed. A terrible moment on the rally. The Aussie was 41 years of age, father of a little girl. It was to be a very difficult stage indeed for Spaniard IzDJ Esteve. Second overall before the start of the special, only 6 minutes adrift. He was certainly hoping to get closer to his main rival and compatriot, Spaniard Mark Coma. But it all went wrong today for the KTM Gauloise rider. A bad crash after the first refueling. The Spaniard was then to get stuck in the sand. And then a second crash, a bigger one this time. For injured, Esteve helped out by his KTM Gauloise teammate, David Castou. And also moments of despair for the Spaniards. supported by his water carrier, the Frenchman. And there was only one way to go. Back home. The race looked to be over for courageous Isidre. And indeed, it was.
No.
He was to speak to the race headquarters via the Eurotrack system, explaining he couldn't take it anymore. Well, it's a great discipline, explains Castor, but it's very dangerous.
Très dangereuse et
we reduce speeds
tout le temps vigilant,
and other things,
limiter la vitesse, limiter plein de choses.
But we have to stay well aware of the danger.
Le danger, il est permanent, il est tout le temps là. Je reste avec lui, moi. Donc ne vous inquiétez pas, je reste avec lui. Si
to tell headquarters
je vous
that he was to remain with Isidre and support him. The Spaniards tried to carry on, heading to Kippa, but it was just too difficult. He was eventually put into a helicopter and taken to a medical center. Maybe the finest performance of the day was for Portugal's Elder Rodriguez, third on the day, the privateer. Giovanni Sala, the Italian, finished fourth. The race was on victory number 3 for Cyril Dupre, beating Moncoma by 4 minutes and Elder Rodriguez 7 minutes adrift. The overall standings, Coma keeps the overall leadership, but now has a 22-minute lead on Cyril Dupre. Giovanni Sala is third. Focus today on the new navigation rules introduced this year. Fabrizio Pons, co-driver of Jutta Kleinschmidt, is our guide to understand everything about it. The main change is due to the fact that the GPS is far less important. No more GPS points like last year, just a few of them, hidden waypoints. As a result, navigation is much more difficult, as explained by the co-driver.
Nel momento in cui non entri nel raggio dei 3 km di apparizione del waypoint Masquet, devi cercarlo e quindi parti in tutte le direzioni. E c'è chi ha forse un pelino più di esperienza che parte in quella giusta, va, lo cerca, lo trova, lo prende e riparte. C'è chi in questo senso forse non ce l'ha e quindi comincia ad andare in tutte le direzioni dell'arcobaleno.
Preparations of the roadbook are now a lot more important. Competitors get the roadbook on the following day. When they finish a stage, then the co-driver works on it for 4 to 5 hours.
Lavoro con i colori perché quando diventi stanco e dopo magari 300-400 km sei stanco e magari hai la concentrazione che vacilla leggermente, i colori ti aiutano a comunque a porre la tua attenzione sui punti pericolosi, sui punti difficili.
And after the roadbook is prepared for Fabrizio Pons, as all the co-drivers goes to the daily briefing at 9 o'clock, where the organisation gives important information for the next day's stage.
Al briefing ci danno il codice GPS, il next step è di introdurre il codice GPS nei GPS della macchina, vedere che ci siano tutti i punti, controllare che tutti i punti che ci sono nel GPS siano quelli che tu hai segnato sul tuo radar.
The work is done, Fabrizio is ready for the stage. It's success or defeat. The part of the co-driver is now much more important. The longest stage of the rally for the competitors on 4 wheels and probably the toughest goes to 600 k's of special for Nanny Roma and all the other drivers. The Spaniard was to suffer. He eventually finished the day losing 52 minutes and 39 seconds. A hell of a blow for the former bike winner. Mark Miller, third of the previous stage, started third, but immediately found it hard to follow the big gun. He was overtaken by both Mitsubishis and then by Mignardi and Schlesser. He eventually lost over an hour on the day's winner. Jean-Louis Schlesser, in his Ford buggy, had to stop with electronical problems just after overtaking Mark Miller, stuck in the sand. And he suffered mechanical problems on his V8 engined Schlesser Ford buggy. The Frenchman was eventually able to carry on the way to Kiffer, but lost precious time. He was still expected on the finish line of the special. And off went the two-time Dakar winner. And Schlesser was eventually to be caught by Bruno Sabi, another Dakar winner back in the 90s. But the Frenchman also struggled on the day, close to an hour off the winning pace once on the finish line of the special. Again, fantastic sceneries today for this final stage in Mauritania before heading to Mali. And the impressive dune landscapes of Mauritania. Janelle de Villiers of South African was looking good all the way to the first CP, clinching the third fastest time. He eventually managed a decent special, only 28 minutes adrift. Jutta Kleinschmidt still hoping to win a special on this Dakar. She struggled in the sand. She crossed the finish line with a 49-minute deficit, but still was a real show woman. Thierry Magnaldi, a big crash for the stage 8 winner, destroying the front part of his buggy. Time lost for the Frenchman, 1 hour, 15 seconds. Back with the German, Jutta Kleinschmidt, winner of the Dakar back in 2001. She lost close to 50 minutes on the day. She's now 4th overall, 49 minutes off the pace. And bumpy action in the cockpit of the Race Touareg 2. But the big winners of the day were, without the slightest doubt, the Mitsubishis. Luc Alphand lost time in the dunes, but his goal was to stay as close as possible of teammate and overall leader Stéphane Péterancel. The former skier did his best all the way to Kiffer, but still lost 8 minutes and 44 seconds. Looking impressive in his Pajero Evo, but he too was to get stuck in the sands. Very, very soft sands indeed today between Nouakchott and Kiffer, and time to get the shovels out and give the car a good push. The helping hand of Luc Alphand's co-driver, Gilles Picard. Precious for navigation, but also for shoveling. Very, very soft sand, explains Luc Alphand. He certainly doesn't like that. But the big winner of the day was again Stéphane Péterancel. He proved he was the master of the Dakar. Stopping in the dunes certainly wasn't a problem for the double title holder, who flew to a 51st stage success. 33 on a bike and now 18 on 4 wheels. Already a winner of stages going to Tintin, and Zouerat, the Frenchman, becomes the new record holder of special wins on the Dakar. Fantastic stuff from the overall leader, who increases his lead on teammate Luc Alphand, now over 9 minutes. He too was stuck in the sand, certainly not a problem. Looking very, very comfortable behind the steering wheel of his Pajero Evo. Only slight problems since the beginning of the rally for Stéphane Péterancel. A puncture in Portugal, a few punctures on African soil. He was stuck in the sand 2 days ago, and again today. But he proved he was the fastest and on his way to a possible treble, a third victory in Dakar. Carlos Sainz certainly thought he could manage the best performance of the day. After his mechanical worries 2 days ago, the Spaniard started 82nd today, was third at the first 2 checkpoints, then fastest at CP3, but it all went wrong after that and was still expected on the finish line. Henri Pescarolo looking good in his buggy. He too was expected on the finish line, alongside his co-driver, explaining that he fractured a backbone, so it's very painful to drive in these conditions. Vertebral problems for the Dakar veteran. Still very courageous. He was explaining that he tries to drive as calmly and softly as possible, not to be in too much pain. Carlos Souza looking impressive there in his Nissan pickup, but rather disappointing on the day. He was still expected on the finish line. In other words, only 7 cars had made it to the finish. The leader of the production class, Raté, is certainly hoping to keep his crown. So victory number 51 for Stéphane Péterancel, with an 8 minutes and 44 second lead on Luc Alphand. And then all the others, Gilles de Villiers, 28 minutes of drift. In the overall standings, the first 2 Mitsubishis have close to 1 hour on the first Volkswagen, that of Gilles de Villiers. To the the truck race, and problems for the title holder, Firdaus Kabirov, winner of last year's edition, stranded in the dunes. Mechanical problems for the Russian, transmission problems, and a serious crash for 2-time special winner this edition, Hans Stacey, the Dutchman, and almost race over for Stacey. We were trying to pass over the dune, and I tried to shift a gear and committed a mistake, and well, we rolled over. It's just bad luck indeed for the Dutchman, who is still trying to make it to the finish line, but hopes of a possible podium are fading away. Truck of Hans Stacey was eventually back on its 4 wheels, but seriously bruised and battered. Helped out by an assistance truck. Reparation time for Stacy, who no longer seems to be dangerous in the overall for the Kamaz team. So problem for Stacy, problem for Kabirov, who is still expecting his assistance truck. It was looking good for 6th special winner Vladimir Chagin, who too was expected on the finish line of the stage in Kiffa. Tomorrow the rally leaves Mauritania and heads to its 5th country, Mali, a shorter 333 kilometer special, including 383 kilometers of timed effort. The vegetation thickens, more dirt tracks and speed, also more villages to be crossed. Bikers and drivers will have to be very careful with speed. A real transition day on the Dakar. Well, that's it from Kiffa, from the Dakar. Again, all our thoughts are for the family and friends of Andy Calcott, who passed away today on the stage going from Nouakchott to Kiffa.